Let's bring in George Stephanopoulos right now, Chief Washington Correspondent, host of This Week. George, we heard the call came to the president a little before 6 a.m. Who made it and what was his reaction? It
was made by Robert Gibbs, the White House press secretary, and a lot more fun to make that call than the one that came into Air Force One last week from Copenhagen to say that the Olympics weren't going to Chicago. The president was surprised, but he was also, as Yunji said, humbled by the honor. And I have to say, Diane, this really did catch the blind side. The White House. I spoke to two key White House aides who got the word earlier this morning. Both thought they were being punked. In fact, one said, it's not April 1st, is it? They're working on a statement right now, likely to be a paper statement later this morning from the president, emphasizing how much work there is going forward. But on a serious note, White House aides do believe this will strengthen the president's hand both at home and abroad.
And I want to ask about that because a lot of key decisions being made ahead. It was specifically, what do you think, the calculation, how does this factor in around the world when you make a decision on the Middle East, on Afghanistan?
It's almost as if this was an act of encouragement by the Nobel Prize Committee, and there'll be a lot of criticism for the committee for that. I think the White House expects this will have the most tangible, concrete effect on their efforts to isolate Iran and North Korea, that this will really strengthen the president's hand as they try to force inspectors into the Iranian nuclear sites. Also, it'll help isolate North Korea. As one said to me, you can't wake up in Iran today and not see that the world is moving in one direction on nuclear weapons as you're trying to move in another. Now, will this have an effect on Russia, on China, who hold the key, who really hold the key cards in whether or not there will be sanctions against Iran? That's still to be seen. Another big question, how will this impact the president's effort, decision-making on Afghanistan going forward? And I think that's a big question mark.
Well, again, that's one of the questions, by the way, I'm going to put in just a minute to the director of the committee. But back to that phone call, George, I'm imagining waking up the president and saying, it's not what you think. It's not what you think. How do you begin that? Well, maybe we'll learn what Robert Gibbs said.
Well, we'll find out in a little bit, but that's not a hard phone call to make, Diane. That's one of the good ones.
Yeah, that sure is. Okay, thanks to you, George.